Seeing as the time is now 7 o'clock sharp, we will begin the Thursday, February 4th edition of the Norton Select Board meeting. Let the record show that all 5 members are present, as well as Town Manager Michael Units. Welcome, everyone. I hope you're all having a better day than me. About 15 minutes ago, coming back with pizza from my family, I slipped and fell in the driveway. I have to go back and look at the Nest Cam to see if I captured it, and if I did, I will share it with everyone because I'm sure I made some glorious flails on the way down.
Okay.
Yes, well, I'm good.
Jack, the question
so
is...
now that, can we laugh now that we know you're okay? Is this kind of...
Oh, 100%. Yes, please do. Yeah,
the question is, did you save the pizza, did you say you had?
Yeah, 2 pizzas and some bread. So I was able to fling the pizzas like a boomerang, and they stayed in, so that was good. So we're good. Thank you for your concern about the pizza over my health.
I'm worried about your family, Jack.
That's true. Yeah, if they were hungry, they would come up and bug me. So now they're fine. All right, jumping right into it tonight, we have the appointment of Christine Devoe as an alternate member to the EDC. Renee, I don't know if you want to say anything as the chair of the EDC or...
Sure. So Christine reached out to us in early January, and in true fashion because of the holidays, we didn't connect until probably mid-January, but she's very enthusiastic about being on the EDC. She's actually from the town, just moved back recently, and I'll let her speak here in a second, but she was on our meeting last week, you know, observing, but we've brought her into the mix already. So certainly, I think it's a great addition to the team. She'll be serving in an alternate member capacity, and then we have 1 additional vacancy for an alternate member. But it's nice. We actually had a meeting that was full last week, so it's great to see, and a lot of good participation, you know, with everybody on the group. So Christine, if you want to say a couple words for the board, that'd be great.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for having me tonight, and it was really, you know, a good, refreshing sense to have going back to the EDC. That was great, you know, to see what everybody's doing, what's up in the town. I wanted to join because one of the things was to advocate for Norton and advocate for Norton businesses. That was the thing that drew me to it. And again, like Renee said, I'm from the town, so the town holds a special place in my heart. And we were lucky enough to able to move back in December. So we're really excited to be back, and I'm excited to see what the town has, what we can do, and in regards to economic development. I want to see the town grow both with new business as well as assisting the businesses that are here, because we have so many great businesses in all aspects. And I just want to see where we can grow, and hopefully for the next 50 some odd years, or at least 30 years, so I can pay off my mortgage. Thank you, guys.
Great, thanks, Christine. So Jack, I'd like to make a motion for the board to appoint Christine Devoe as an alternate member to the Economic Development Commission.
Seconded.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll go to the vote. Meg?
Yes.
Michael?
Aye.
Brad?
Yes.
Renee?
Yes.
And I too vote yes. Congratulations, Christine, and welcome back to town.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Christine.
I see nothing listed under licenses and permits. Do we have any announcements tonight, Michael?
I do, Jack, and hold on 1 second as I'm doing my agenda. I didn't print it out, I'm doing it electronically here. The first one is from Parks and Recs, and it's a special one. I'd like to make Someone's Day extra special. Norton resident Mary Colas is turning 100 years old on March 1st. The Parks and Rec is collecting birthday cards to give her on her big day. If you would like to send Mary a card to mark this special occasion, please send them to Norton Parks and Recs, Attention Mary, 70 East Main Street, Norton, Mass. 02766. The other is, hold on 1 second. We have the Council of Aging is is hosting a Valentine's Day drive-through party, cookies, cocoa, and kisses. Boy, that's a mouthful.
I love that Michael's reading that.
By the way, there's nothing worse than not practicing it and then being surprised reading it. So the company is hosting a Valentine's Day drive-through, cookies, cocoa, and kisses, Friday, February 12th. Register by calling the Senior Center and Community Support Center at 508-285-0235. And that is what I have for announcements, Jack.
All right, thank you, Mike. Anyone else on the board have anything they'd like to share?
I don't, Jack, but I give kudos to whoever came up with that name.
Yeah, I will save, there's something, and I'll just, my comments from selectmen letters, Jack.
Okay, very good. So we're jumping into new business. First item up is COVID-19 update from the Board of Health agent. And I see Chris Sonner is on. Welcome, Chris.
Hi, everyone. How are you?
Good. How are you?
You can hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
I apologize for the lighting. I have a new desk in my room, and during the daytime, the window lights me up pretty good, but this is my first nighttime Zoom, so I'm gonna have to do something about the light.
I thought you were now in bunker zone, Chris. It's, you know, it's
Well, the fortunate part is my left side is my better side, so you do get to see that. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and share a screen. I put a little presentation together to make it a little easier for you to see. So we'll do that now. All right, everybody can see that okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, so again, my name's Christian Zahner. I'm the Board of Health agent. I also have Donna Palmer on here, who is our public health nurse. So to start off tonight, I wanted to go over a little bit real quick, the Governor Baker's update that went out today to discuss the lifting of the temporary restrictions that we had on capacities for some of our businesses, and mainly restaurants has been the one that's been hit the hardest, but also gyms and fitness centers and that type of thing. So the businesses were limited to 25% for a couple of weeks while we got through the higher spike of cases. And things they do seem like they're going down from on the state level as far as the case counts. We've dropped down, hospitalizations have dropped down 33% since early January. And the positive cases have also dropped down quite a bit. So they've gone ahead and they're going to go ahead and lift these restrictions, or I should say these temporary restrictions that brought it down to 25% capacity. We're going to move back to the 40% capacity. This does not change the 90-minute max for dining and up to 6 people that are arriving together. That all still applies. Close contact personal services, so stuff like massage therapy and that type of thing, or personal training, they have their limit still of 5 people per 1,000 square feet if they have a smaller business quarters, a small area that doesn't have an available fire occupancy capacity. So they give you the math of 5 people per 1,000 square feet. And then as far as manufacturing, construction, and laboratories, they have never had a capacity restriction. And again, these changes will take effect on Monday, February 8th at 5 a.m. So where are we now as a community? Today, we received a new updated weekly report from the state. We are currently in the red, and I think that is going to change in the next couple of weeks and bring us back down. The past couple of weeks, we had a pretty large cluster that boosted our numbers up at one location, and so they are all starting to come off of isolation, and I think that will help with the numbers going down. So we just didn't make it for this report, but I think maybe next week or the week after we may see that change.
Can I just ask how you guys are notified? Because my whole family had it, and but I never got a call from anyone from the Board of Health or anything, so I'm just wondering,
Did
how
you
that
go
gets-
did you go get tested?
yes.
So the way we're notified, oh, actually, Donna, can you answer to that?
Well, because I should also mention, so when I was originally tested, my husband and I were positive, my kids were negative, but then my kids ended up getting symptoms later, so they've been in quarantine with us, but they never got retested. So I don't know how those numbers would ever get to you guys.
Okay.
Well, first off, did you get calls from the state?
Yes.
That
But
would have been,
but we got calls, it was interesting because we didn't get calls because we were positive. We got calls because we were in contact with someone who was positive. So they were so behind that by the time they got to us, they never even called us about us being positive. They just called us about being in contact with someone. So I was just curious how these numbers.
well, I knew you were. You came through on my line list.
I did, okay, all
Yeah,
right,
you and your husband were both there.
right. But then my kids, 2 out of my 3 kids got it. But they would never have shown up on a radar.
No, but it's either or. I call you or the state calls you.
Okay,
So
I'm just curious.
Okay, so again, our numbers right now, since March, we're at 1,137 total cases. Currently, right now, though, we have 74 active cases that are still in isolation, and more of those are coming off each day. I think I took 46 off of isolation today, which is pretty awesome. And unfortunately, we still have the 11 COVID-related deaths in our town, and that's something that's a number we don't like to see, that's for sure. But fortunately, it has not moved in a little while. As we can see on the bar graph here, the spike that they were all talking about, it definitely happened. It was predicted a long time ago that the winter is going to be a dark one, and it certainly started that way. And we're hoping that we're on the downsweep of this spike. We're hoping February numbers come down, and based upon our numbers and the way we're trending and based on the way the state's trending, it kind of looks like it's going to go that way, but let's all keep our fingers crossed. I think the more and more vaccines that get done are going to help it out as well. This is our age graph. So it shows you the age brackets from 0 to 18, 19 to 30, and so on and so forth. 19 to 30 has always been our highest. Actually, I saw on the news yesterday that it's nationwide, that age bracket is the highest case count in the last 2 months. So it's not surprising. Again, this was only from August 24th. I started doing this prior to the beginning of school year so that they could track it for their precautionary measures. So the COVID-19 vaccine, the town of Norton will be using the Moderna vaccine at this time. We have currently done the first responders, police and fire have been done, and some medical health people have been done. I can't really tell you who they were. However, the town is only going to be allocated 100 doses max per week. So our original plans, when we were considering back in December, it might even been November, that we were talking about, plans of a large scale clinic, kind of went down by the wayside when that happened. Because, we've got 20,000 people and 100 doses a week is going to take us an awful long time to get them done. The state has really pushed for people to go to the mass vaccination sites, and I'll get to those later, but we're going to continue to bring in the 100 doses a week. And again, it does make it challenging. But so the way we looked at it is the next group up that's eligible, and eligible as of right now, is the individuals of age 75 plus. And so that's when what we decided is we're being limited to 100 each week. Let's focus on the seniors, focus on the seniors that have mobility issues, that are going to have a tough time to get to that mass vaccination site like Gillette Stadium, they have issue with technology. They have a tough time registering themselves online. So what that's the population that we're going to work closely with. So Norton Board of Health, along with other partners in town, and I'll get to those later too, are starting with the seniors again, 75 and older. We're going to do a 4-hour clinic every Monday, starting February 15th, and it'll be by appointment only. I didn't put it in here, but it will be held at the Yale School. This again is subject to vaccine availability. Although they say we're allocated 100 per week, they cannot guarantee it. You know, everybody's kind of up in the air on how much vaccine will be allocated to the state, how much will be allocated to each town. So they just said to us, we hope to keep it at the 100, but please be aware that it may not always happen. So again, difficult to plan a clinic when you don't know if you're even going to have vaccines, but we're going to do our best to kind of do it on a batting order and type of thing. And as we get them in, we'll make the calls to get those particular people in that are up next. Seniors with mobility issue, again, is our top priority. This is why we're not doing, you know, big alerts and putting it out there. Again, we're limited on what we have for vaccine, and we're working closely with the senior center, who has a database of the seniors, as well as the veterans agent, to reach out to the seniors. And not to mention, we've had quite a bit of phone calls. I will say our phone hasn't stopped since, I don't know, the 28th of January. It's just been nonstop because they knew this day was coming. And then strongly encouraging anyone that is eligible to and capable of doing so to register with one of the state's mass vaccination sites at this time, because from what I was told today, Gillette Stadium has plenty of open appointments. So if you are eligible and you can get there and you feel comfortable about it, I strongly suggest you do it. If you're 75 and older and you have trouble making the registration or the appointment, please call the senior center. They are willing to help you get signed up. So we have people to help you through this.
Hey, Chris, can I ask a question before you hit this next slide?
Yep.
So with the shortage of vaccination or vaccine doses, how are you guys handling, and maybe we don't, does this vaccine, you said Moderna we're using, does that require a second shot too?
So yeah, so one of the things that I was going to tell you is that we're planning the 100 a week. We're planning on 4 weeks of the 100 a week, so there's 400, and then we have to go on a dose. Unless something changes between now and 1 month from now and we end up with getting more, we're going to have to reserve that second month for a second dose. If they give us more, then we'll absolutely start up more people with their first dose, but we have to base it on what they're giving us right now, and they haven't told us differently yet. So yes, it will be 4 weeks of first dose, 4 weeks of second dose.
Okay, and that's, I just wanted to ask that question because I figured there was more logistically that you guys had, you know, when you review it, it seems nice and easy, but there's a lot that you guys have to consider, especially with that second dose and making sure we have supply to give it to people.
Exactly, and you know, first of all, Donna, correct me if I'm wrong, but they have basically given us the promise that we will get our second doses. That it will not be cut short. So they have basically promised us that.
Right.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask a question?
Yes, and then I got one for after you.
Yeah. Chris, are you guys also doing any short lists on this? Is there a way, are you guys gonna have a short list on this if the appointments that you have, some of them fall through? Are you guys gonna have a short list?
We expect, based upon what we already have for a list, that we're gonna have more than 400 people on that list. And so that's gonna be our short list, is that overage. And eventually it's gonna open up to 65 plus and some other categories. And so it's gonna be, again, it's all about availability of the vaccine. We're gonna have to play it by ear with that.
What I mean by the short list though is obviously what your target population is not one that's probably going to hop up, run down there. You got it's 4:45.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
It's 4:45, got 3 vials of a vaccine. That surely, the population you're aiming at is not gonna hop in the car and drive down there most likely.
Yep, no, we definitely do have a short list. I mean, we've got town employees, we've got school employees, we've got other people that we can reach out to, so, but we're thinking we're not gonna need that list.
Let's hope not. Yeah, great. Okay, thank you.
So,
Good.
thanks. So if I can just share some feedback I've gotten on the Gillette site from a couple of friends that have been able to go there. It may seem like there is a line, but it sounds like that is not necessarily the case. They allow you entry as soon as your timestamp matches. So if you get there at 11:35 for an 11:40 appointment, you just have to wait till 11:40 and they will wave you in. If there is a line, it is probably people who arrive much earlier and are waiting, and our normal lemming-like tendency to follow people when we're in a line. So feel free to go up and talk to somebody that is at the front of the line, because you may be able to save that wait. And from what I hear, once you're inside, it flows really, really nice. And as soon as you're done with your first shot, they book you for your second one. So hopefully no lines, and
That's
it seems to
exactly
go
what I heard.
well.
That's exactly what I heard today too, Jack. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks, Chris.
So I just wanted to put up again the mass vaccination sites. Gillette Stadium's obviously the closest one. I don't expect our seniors to run to Fenway Park. But I think that, I put it up there because it's the second closest one, and someday down the road, some of our other population will be eligible, and they may work in Boston, and that might be their better option. So something to keep in mind. Online resources for vaccine information and registration. So on the Board of Health website, we do have a link there now to email the senior center, as well as their phone number there in case they don't have email. Again, working with some of the senior population, some of the tech advantages just don't come into play. But we put it on there just in case, and then they also could go on the state's mass.gov COVID-19 vaccine site, where they can register by clicking on that blue button. Again, if they don't feel comfortable with technology, they can call the senior center, and the senior center will talk to them. They will help them. They will actually do the registration for them, but they'll ask them all the questions. So they won't have to physically do it at all. They'll just have to show up. But these are 2 great options for some information for them. Again, put it on the senior center. I was told that it has to be called the Norton Senior Community Support Center based upon the new building's title. It was very important that I put that there. Their number is 508-285-0235, or they can be emailed at coa@nortonmaus.com. Must be 25 years or older to be eligible at this time. Again, that's subject to change down the road as well.
Did you say 25 or 75?
75.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, 75 or older. I'm sorry. Did I say 25?
You said 25.
Okay.
I was like, I'm in. I heard our agents say 20, 25 plus.
Sorry.
That's okay. It's not like you haven't been dealing with this for the past year, Chris, right?
Yeah, I've never said the same thing a million times, right?
I know, so no worries.
So I just wanted to say, I wanted to share this. I want to put out a great big thank you. First of all, Beth Rossi and her staff to step up the way they did and take on almost like the call center role for this is huge, because our office is flying on top of COVID-19, and it's just been unbearable to take all these calls. It's ridiculous. And we want to help as much as we can, but it's just been so difficult. So we have their help, and it's been fantastic. Estelle Flett always jumps in and gives us a hand, and I want to give her some kudos as well. Norton Housing Authority, again, Norton Housing is going to have their own clinic. The 120 West Main will have its own clinic at some point. They're not eligible right now. Some of them are, but as a group, they are not eligible until step 2 of phase 2. So they will be having their own clinic for the residents there at 120 West Main, and we encourage them to wait for that clinic. Norton Police, Norton Fire have been excellent. We're going to have a police detail as well as fire detail at our clinics for public safety reasons. Norton Public Schools, Dr. B, without a doubt, jumped all over this to give us a hand and give us a place to go, and said not a problem, made it happen, and Wade Lazat jumped. It's always a pleasure to deal with them over in this town. You did the wrong thing. Ray Cord has just been unbelievable, as we've seen with some of our outdoor town meetings and how those went. He shows up with his group and he's ready to go. And then we're going to have plenty of Bristol Norfolk Medical Reserve Corps volunteers at our clinic as well. And so we thank them as well for helping us get through this. And with that, I'm going to take any questions you may have, any more questions you might have.
Excellent. Thank you, Chris. I'll open it up to the board.
So Chris, I guess I just asked, and maybe this is a question for Beth as well. Are there any resources that you guys need where volunteers can help out, or we can help from a municipal perspective?
Well, I think at this point it's in control, but I'm concerned about further down the road. The call volume is my concern down the road. Right now, it's been pretty much in control for her, and we do have some. I do have one staff member that could go over there and give her a hand. So if it gets out of control. So right now we're good. But I think that at some point we may be looking for volunteers to help with the calls. And as far as the clinic itself, I think we're in good shape with that as well. We still have, we've got a tremendous help from the fire department, police department, but also the Norfolk Bristol Medical Reserve Corps. They jumped to our cape and they help us out big time. So I think we're in good shape there. But believe me, I am not going to hesitate to reach out to you or any other committee and board in this town if I need help.
Perfect. And is there anything that, I thought I read somewhere, and I might be wrong on my states, but I thought I read that when you register, you have to provide insurance information too. Is that correct in Mass?
So the vaccine itself is free. The insurance gets charged for the administration of it.
Okay.
Is that correct, Donna? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's basically why they take the information. It's just to help cover the cost of the administration.
Okay, is there any other information that we can share with people to be prepared to register like that, or is that pretty much the only thing that they wouldn't know offhand?
That would be the only thing, but that's why this is kind of work out pretty good with having it being done over the phone. It's not like they show up without their medical card or something like that. They typically have it there at home, so that part of it's going to work out pretty well. If we find that it's not, or we find that we need to put out some sort of a memo out there for everybody, we will, but I think it's going to be pretty good.
Great, thank you so much. You guys are doing a great job. I know that this is a lot of work, and hopefully this is the beginning of the end, so that we can get enough people vaccinated and we don't have the impact that we do in the community. But thank you guys so much.
Thank you for your support.
And I'm willing to pick up a phone whenever. You let me know if you guys need help.
Absolutely, we will.
And is it true, Chris, that now I have 3 months of immunity? So I can help out in any way. I might go travel. I don't know what I want to do with my freedom now.
Yeah, it's not really freedom. Don't get too excited. But yes, it's been told that 90 days is what your immunity level will be. Don't go crazy. You still need to wear a mask, and you still have to be socially distanced.
And you still have a variant out there that's not as effective with the vaccine, so we don't want that guy coming around Norton.
That's true.
No.
That's true.
So, yeah.
But thank you for all your
travel
work.
plans.
I did hear that Hawaii will accept COVID antibodies, but not the vaccine. So you could always go to our 50th state for a little break.
Yeah.
Anyone else with questions for Chris?
Yes. Yes, I'm doing a good job washing my hands, staying safe and staying healthy. And I agree with Renee. This is the beginning and the end of the pandemic, and it's almost over. And we are at the finish line, and the vaccines are here. So hang on tight for a few months. Wear a mask, stay safe, wash your hands, and we are going to get back to normal soon. I'm hoping this summer and fall so we can get back to normal, get back to our lives, and get rid of this terrible pandemic that's holding us hostage.
Excellent. Well, Peter, I hope you're right, because I have tickets to go see my favorite band in Red Rocks, Colorado, in September. So if it gets postponed for another year, I'm going to be really sad. So Chris, one question I had, I think I saw in the paper that the first CVS in our area that will be opening the COVID vaccination site is in Seekonk.
Correct.
I think our location is on a further rollout.
Yeah, so from what I've seen, there's 40,000 plus pharmacies in this country, and only 6,500 are opening with the vaccine to start. And I think the governor said today it was just over 100 locations in the state, but he's hoping to have that boosted up quite a bit by the middle to end of February. So I think we may see, more local locations popping up soon, but I don't have any inside info on that.
Sounds good. Yeah, it was alluded to in the article that there would be more coming, but the first 18 CVS's, Seekonk was the only one that was what I would call reasonably close to us.
Yeah.
Great.
And that might be a better option for some people too than the stadium, because they're, they feel comfortable going to a CVS, so they may take the ride to Seekonk,
Hey, Chris, is there any truth to some of that social media, and I hate referring to social media, but some of that social media discussion about certain pharmacies who are delivering the vaccine, and then at the end of the day, they find that people skipped appointments and they have some available and they'll just vaccinate anybody who's interested?
So I do know, I can't answer to that specific situation, but I do know that the state, the last thing they want you to do is waste a vaccine dose. So if we did a clinic, let's say at the school, and we got 3 doses left and we've got nobody to fill it, we could literally walk across the street to Honeydew and pull 3 people out of there, ask if they want to get their vaccine. Because they don't want the doses wasted, but they are also pushing us to try our damnedest to stay with the guidance of 75 plus or whoever is eligible at the time, and try to keep it at that, try not to skip over to the next step.
Okay, Donna, did you have something to add? It looked like you were going to unmute yourself.
Well, it's just that everyone who's coming to the clinics is going to have an appointment. So I'll know ahead of time. So we're going to try to make sure that we have those 100 doses accounted for. Now, if someone doesn't show up, we'll have a wait list to go down and contact the people.
Right.
There could be a situation where I'd have a dose or 2 left, and I'm not going to waste it. So I might go to Honeydew. I don't know, but we won't waste it, definitely. We have a little bit of a time restriction, because once we puncture that vial, we have 6 hours to use it all. So you can't really use a partial vial. You have to use the whole 10 doses in every vial, or you're going to waste it. So that's why it's really necessary to have the appointments. And we have a new computer system, which we're going to be using, rolling out for this first flu clinic. And everybody will be in that ahead of time. So when they come in, we'll already have their name in there and their time, and should prove very efficient. Of course, it's new, so that's a little bit of a hurdle. The other thing that's wonderful about it, I think in the long run, right now, when I give a vaccine, I have to take it back to the office and manually enter it into the Massachusetts immunization system. Then I have to take that form that the patient filled out, copy it, and send it to the insurance company. Both those steps I won't have to do with this new computer system. It will immediately upload to the state's immunization system, so I won't have to do that extra step. And the same thing with the insurance company. It'll send to the insurance company. So that's exciting.
That is definitely great. So,
Perfect. It'll be a great item to have.
yeah.
Chris, is still the website that everyone should be looking at for availability is maimmunizations.org. Is that the website that to see if there's a center near us? Is that?
It's that one that I had on the bottom. Well, first of all, you can go to the Board of Health website, and on the Board of Health website, underneath the information where I just put for seniors to sign up, it has a mass vaccination site.
Okay.
19 vaccination site. When you click on that, it gives you options about, looking for a location near you, how to register. It has quite a tool set up to go through the motions to get yourself registered when you're eligible.
Okay.
But you can get the link right from our website, or you can go directly to mass.gov/COVID-19-vaccine. COVID-19-vaccine.
Great, thank you.
So, thank you, Chris. Anything else for our beloved Chris and Donna? All right. Seeing nothing, guys, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for all you've been doing, and best luck with the coming shots.
Thank you for having us, and thanks for the support.
All right, moving on, discussion and or vote to declare the Norton Fire Department's pedestal fire alarm boxes as surplus. This sounds like a town manager topic. Hi, Mike.
Hello. So the chief was going to be on to talk about this, but he's kind of worn out from his command performance last night on the Michael Toon show.
He did an amazing job.
So for this topic, Captain Keen is on, and he'd like to talk about, he has some pedestal fireboxes that he would like to declare surplus so they can be put on municipal.
You should demoted me already, huh?
What did I say? Captain? Sorry, Deputy Chief.
That's these are pedestal boxes over the years have been taken down because of there were no more use for them. They were damaged and beyond repair, and they were causing short circuits in our fire alarm system. So we'd like to put them on gov deals and get some money for them, and the money goes back to the town.
Great.
Is there really a population that's interested in buying these?
Yeah, there's people out there who buy them and fix them up. Not the pedestal itself, but the box. Some might want the pedestal. The pedestals, you'll see them in subdivisions that have underground wiring. But yeah, there are people out there that buy them and fix them up. Actually, the chief it's not one of these, but some time ago he had bought one online and fixed it up. So that's what they do. They buy, somebody in gov deals will buy them and probably put them online and see if people want to refurbish them.
And these have already been taken out of service, right? They're not already.
Yes, that's correct.
Are there still boxes in town that are working? I know like on Bryson Drive, there's a box. Does that?
Yeah, we do have a plan to eventually take down the fire alarm boxes. We really don't need them anymore. It's an antiquated system. Eventually, the only fire alarm boxes that we'll be requiring will be for commercial properties.
Have you had anyone use them recently in residential areas?
No, we've had a few used it within the last month, but they were, false alarms. You get there, nobody's around, but not for fire.
All right.
And with everybody having cell phones, the necessity of having them years ago has gone by the wayside.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Deputy Chief. Any further discussions? It seems straightforward. So I would entertain a motion to declare the fire department's pedestal fire alarm boxes as surplus to be sold at auction.
So moved.
Second.
We'll go to the vote. Meg?
Yes.
Michael?
Aye.
Brad?
Yes.
Renee?
Yes.
And I too vote yes. Excellent. Thank you very much, Deputy Chief.
Thank you.
Have
Have
a
a good
wonderful
evening.
night.
Thank you.
All right, next up, review and vote to authorize the town manager to sign the contract for the purchase and installation of a new generator at the Norton Fire Department. Welcome back, Deputy Chief. Been a long time.
So this item, I just wanted to mention that our state reps and state senator had a line item put into the Division of Fire Services budget to provide us with $30,000 towards the cost of this generator. And Deputy Robbins has been working on this, and he can explain where he's at.
Hi, folks. Thank you. So about a year and a half ago, we were awarded, like Mr. Unit said, $30,000 from the Department of Fire Services for an emergency generator. We currently have a generator at the basement of the fire station, but that doesn't fit code or anything like that like it used to. So this will upgrade that. This generator will supply us, the town hall, and also now we'll tie the highway department into that. We went out to bid. We got a company based out of Westport that we're looking to award the bid to, and we're looking to have the project done at the latest by the end of June.
And we have to have it done by the end of June to receive the $30,000.
Do we have any concerns that we won't hit that date?
At this time, we should be all set. We don't have a large window of space, but we were restricted last year due to COVID and getting available generators and things like that. But they think that we should be all set with this one.
And is it?
Have it installed.
Did we have a company who is servicing it and coming out and doing? Oh, I see this here. Annual maintenance contract. Are we doing the annual maintenance contract?
We do for the diesel generator that we have in our basement of the fire station now. That's correct.
And so we'll continue it with this one?
That generator in the basement is outdated. It's not up to code, so that'll be taken out of service. And this one will be a new generator that will be outside to the rear of the fire station and town hall.
All right. And do we have the maintenance contract with this new one?
We will. We do not have anything signed up as of this point. We'll have a warranty period that we'll we'll go through that, and then we'll get a maintenance contract for it.
Mr. Chairman. And this is probably more towards this question is to Mr. Units. So we're awarded $30,000 from the state. Have we already approved the additional funds for this in the capital improvements of the budget and all that good stuff?
The additional funds will come out of a fund that was appropriated several years ago for our town hall fire station improvements.
Okay, and I do have one follow-up question. Is there any salvage? I know it's outdated and so forth. Is there any salvage value in the existing generator, or is there any money that can be invested into that generator for another use in town or a smaller facility or so forth?
As much as that's a great idea, and we pose the question, we're not legally allowed to do that just because it's so outdated.
So can I?
And even
As much as
even
I can see your mind working there, Michael, and I agree with you, and we even talked about potentially putting it on a trailer or doing something like that, but legally we cannot do that at all.
There's no way money we could put into it is there any short money we could put into it to make it feasible?
When I spoke with our electrician before, that we use quite a bit to do some work at the fire station, he did not think that that would be a feasible option.
Okay, thank you.
So Deputy, what's the annual maintenance cost for this one versus the other? And is it going to be an additional expense in the operating budget?
I don't have the exact cost for now. I don't anticipate it to be any more than what we're actually at now.
Okay, and then on this contract, there's a couple alternates listed, like for sound, looks like fuel.
Yeah, like
And then
we didn't accept those. The fuel, of course, we can get right from from highway, so we can buy it at the town's discounted price as compared to having them bring a company in. The sound attenuator, that's basically, it's an insulation that this will be mounted outside. That would be an insulation that would go inside the doors that, you know, is not necessary to have. It will be insulated already. That would just be an above and beyond.
Okay, and then what's the expectation at full load? How long can we run the buildings for?
I have it in front of me. It's, I think it's 48 hours. I know I have it here on the contract. I believe it's going to be a 275 gallon tank, but we actually have a newer 275 gallon tank outside that we currently use for our generator. So we are going to see if we can't piggyback that right into it, so it would have some extra availability hour-wise if it's at full load. We also have the ability through highway and through the water department, who have what they call them saddle tanks that will carry the diesel fuel. So we could go down to the highway yard, get 100 gallons at a time, and bring that right in and put that into the generator also.
Okay, and do we cover the buildings completely?
What's that?
I'm sorry, you go first, I'm sorry.
We won't have to hire an outside company to fuel the tank or anything like that. So if we have an extended outage, we can use either the highway or the water department and get the tank filled that way.
Okay, and what are we covering? Is it like the entire building, or just certain things like HVAC and emergency items?
It's covering about 75% of the building, and it will also cover the highway department for any of their needs, even to run a welder or anything like that if Keith needs it during a storm or any of that.
Excellent, great, thank you.
Currently, our generator now is about 80,000 or 80 kW. So we're going a little more, not quite double, but we're pretty close to it.
Michael?
Mr. Chairman, I can't let go of this coach. I'm sorry, Chief Robbins. Is there a way that we can put this on a municipal, one man's junk is another man's treasure, as is generator, and receive I don't care if I receive $5 for it. Is there a way to do that, or is that?
I'll pay $5 just to end the conversation.
$7.50.
Your Michael is we cannot legally do any of that.
Okay. Fair enough.
What about illegally?
Stop recording.
Right now, town council's twitching somewhere.
You can talk about this tomorrow, Michael.
Great, wonderful, thank you. I appreciate your patience with my question.
I do have one serious question. I noticed it said that it's excluding the disconnection and removal of the existing generator. Is that something that the highway department's going to do, or is that something you pay to your electrician?
No, the highway department will take care of that. In our perfect scenario, we'll have to see, of course, once it starts to happen. But there's a small retaining wall and a HVAC duct that we'll be able to remove the wall on the outside, remove that duct, and the existing generator in a perfect world will come out in close to one piece through that with the assistance of the highway department and a backhoe.
All right.
But I have spoken with Keith about it. We have looked at it. And again, I won't guarantee anything until we're doing it and it's done, but.
Just get Michael in there, he'll help you out.
Yeah, exactly. He's gonna take it piece by piece.
So
I would absolutely make it look like a stage job. I'd stand around the big hole.
for the generator itself, and I don't know if you know this, Deputy Chief Robbins, and you may have said this earlier, the entire capacity is 275 gallons. Do you know how much of that is within the generator itself versus an outside tank?
Well, the tank is basically built right into the generator. It'll be with it and stuff like that, but how much is in the generator motor itself, I would only imagine a couple of gallons in a sense, but it's all based as in a sense one system. It is a diesel generator, which is required as it's an emergency generator for public safety. So we have to do it, so we can't rely on, if it was natural gas, we had to have an outside source that we could, in case the natural gas system goes down, unfortunately learn some things like that.
Okay. So it sounds like it's got a 275 gallon day tank underneath it, which is great.
Correct.
Okay.
275.
By the way, that was the nicest way I've ever heard the Lawrence situation described, it going down.
Yeah, that's probably the nicest you ever will.
All right. So any other question for Deputy Chief Robbins this evening? Seeing none, Chair will entertain a motion to authorize the town manager to sign the contract for the purchase and installation of a new generator at the Norton Fire Department as shown in the contract in our packets.
So moved.
So moved. Second.
All right. Meg,
Yes.
Michael,
Aye.
Brad,
Yes.
Renee,
Yes.
and I too vote yes. All right. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Even you too, Michael, with your questions.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
He was,
You can't compliment him, Deputy Chief Robbins, because he'll just keep asking them.
I will just
Well,
keep
that's-
going.
The best part about Michael now is I can mute him and you guys can't. Michael's.
Oh, we can. We
Well, that's
can.
what we're in.
Chair would entertain a motion to reconsider the contract for the generator. I'm just kidding. I may have hit my head when I slipped and fell. So
I feel like Rodney Dangerfield here.
Okay, next up, we have discussion and or vote to reauthorize and amend the intermunicipal agreement that created the Southeastern Regional Services Group, SERSG, SERSG.
Well, Sursage as I say, but as you know, Sursage is the organization that we belong to with, we're one of 25 communities that's part of the group. And this is where we have joint purchasing of certain procurements and also trainings provided by Sursage. The first agreement was a 25-year agreement, and it was established in 1996. So this amendment that you have before you tonight will extend that agreement for another 25 years. That's the maximum that's allowed by statute. In your packet, you have the full agreement, and then you also have the amendment that was prepared by Copman and Page. And you can vote to approve. There's a motion that they also recommend that you use and authorize either the chair or the town manager to sign the Sursage intermunicipal agreement reauthorization.
Okay. Thanks, Mike. Any questions on this?
I think the only question, Jack, is who are we authorizing on this? I assume it's the town manager.
I would be comfortable with that.
Okay, so I can read this in. I move that the select board vote to reauthorize and amend the intermunicipal agreement that created the Southeastern Regional Services Group so as to extend the term of that agreement for a period of 25 years from February 1st, 2021, subject to any rights of termination or withdrawal with all other terms of the original agreement remaining in place without change, and to authorize the town manager to execute any documents necessary to effectuate the purposes of this vote.
Second.
All right, excellent. Meg,
Yes.
Michael,
Aye.
Brad,
Yes.
Renee,
Yes.
I too vote yes. Excellent. Thank you, Mike.
Thank
Next
you.
up, we will be
Can I,
reviewing
Mr.
the.
Chairman, can I just ask a point of information of the town manager?
Sure.
If one of the towns doesn't sign on to this, Mike, what ends up happening? And nothing, it's just they go with the group they have to quote out these things and so forth?
Right, if a town didn't sign on, we'd just continue with the towns that do. And we're always looking to add towns as we go along.
Right, the bigger, more buying power. Okay, thank you. Sorry, Mr. Chairman.
No need to apologize to me. Thank you. Next up is reviewing the list of Springtown meeting articles. That time of year already.
It is. So I just wanted to, you have been provided with the list. I want to thank Michelle as people were bugging out because of the snowstorm the other night, she stayed till 4 o'clock so she could get this posted. There's placeholders on here. A lot of these articles might not continue until May 8th, but we just wanted to make sure that hopefully we covered everything that people asked for. And there is one petition article on here. It's on the second page right now, listed as Article 27. And if anyone has any questions at all about more details in any of these articles, just reach out to me. And there obviously will be more detailed as we start preparing the warrant.
Mike, can we go through these briefly? Just a quick intro to them?
Okay.
Were these sent as a private, were these sent, I don't see these part of my packet. Were these sent as private?
Yes, they're in the packet.
It's on page 29, Michael,
I'm gonna share my screen, guys.
or 28.
29, no, 29 of 34.
So there you go. The first article that's on there is standard. That's chapter 90. So that just authorizes the town to expend any funds that we receive under the chapter 90 program. That's what Keith uses to make improvements to town streets. The second article is an article that we have every year. This is Highway Department puts this in. This is to hire tree services. So any large trees or trees near wires that our men are not certified to work near wires, Keith would call in a crane service for that. Article 4 is just the standard. That would be the water department budget. Article 5 would be the sewer department budget. Article 6 would be the town-wide budget for all departments, schools in town. Article 7 is if any money is going to be appropriated to the capital improvement fund. Article 8 would be approving the capital improvement plan. Article 9, that is to rescind unused portions of previously authorized borrowings. And I know one of the ones that will be involved in this came up at the last town meeting. The Water and Sewer Department was authorized to borrow money for a project and they did not have to. So we would be rescinding that authorization. Article 10, this came about an owner of property on Crane Street came forward to Jennifer Carlino and said that they have land for sale abutting the well. So the Water and Sewer Department is looking to possibly purchase that land next to the town well. Article 11, I know I've been talking with Condyne and they feel that there may be a possibility of someone coming forward with a project that would need a TIF, so that's just a placeholder. Article 12, as we talked about, would be for special legislation to increase the number of liquor licenses in all alcohol package store licenses in town. Article 13, this article would be to authorize the use of any of the remaining funds from the demo of the buildings at Reed and Barton along Cross Street that remains to be used for any other purposes on that property, like maybe if we can do some asbestos abatement on that property, it would be used for that.
Do you know how much is left on?
There's about 100,000, Jack.
Oh, well, okay.
Mike, is that standard practice, or would we typically just return that into the free cash?
Either or, if town meeting didn't vote for the reauthorization, it would just be turned into free cash.
Thank you.
Article 14, another placeholder. Waste Management has been talking about they want to expand their location on Hill Street. And so they're looking at the possibility of, they'd like to take over the property where the animal shelter and 9 Lives are right now, and the shooting range, and rebuild a animal shelter and 9 Lives and a shooting range for us somewhere else. So we're waiting to see if there's a proposal on that from them. Article 15 is also reserved. Right across from Leonard Street, there's a small parcel. Maybe it's 40 feet wide and only goes back like 50 feet, that somehow is in the town name. And the state is behind the salt shed, that whole area in there. And we also have land back there, and this would be a land swap with them so that they could have an access road into the property, right where the traffic lights are coming out of Leonard Street, right across.
And Mike, what are some of the requirements for that? Like, do they have a list that they have to meet so that the property, I mean, I assume the size has to be the same, but like any other requirements for a land swap deal?
No, it'd just be whatever we negotiate with them on that.
Okay.
Article 16 is just reserved. We currently have funds available for easement acquisitions. This came about, this is for the rail trail, and this came about during the title search. In Mansfield acquired the right-of-way for the trunk line for the sewer project, and the attorneys were concerned that in the past, a lot of times the railroad would just take the rights to go across property for railroad purposes, and then once the railroad's done, they didn't own the property. So there are some parcels along the right-of-way that this has happened. So in order to straighten out the title, we may have to have appraisers go out to these properties and look for donations from who they think is the current owners now, or buy those properties. None of these properties in question, people don't realize that they own them. They're not taxed on them. It's just a fluke in the way the title, Mansfield bought it through the bankruptcy court, and they said they were selling them the whole river right away. So it's just really to straighten out the title. So this one is interesting. This is just a placeholder also. As you always remember, the architect has talked about if we could get that parcel of land behind the fire station and the library, that vacant land, it would really help in the parking lot. So we've been trying to contact that owner to see if they'd be interested. And today I got a call from some guy who said his mother owned land behind the Norton fire station, and he's looking to sell it. But he left a phone number, 609-1498. So we've been trying all day to figure out whether 609 was the area code. We've dialed 508, we've dialed 617-774-413-401. So we're still trying.
Try Julian 592.
So we're trying to track him down to see if that's the parcel he's talking about. I hope it's not one of the other fire station, and see if there's any interest in the sale of that.
Renee, didn't you say earlier you had some time to make some phone calls?
Yeah. I think I said I had time to take phone calls, Jack.
18, that's just that would be the article for the building projects and the field athletic complex. Article 19, that's for the train projects.
TRANE, train.
TRANE, correct. Not the ones that didn't take the land properly.
Yeah.
Article 20, as the superintendent talked about at a previous meeting, this would be to do an engineering design and install a new sewer line for the Henry Yell and high school.
Can we just dwell on that for just 1 second, since it's on there? Do you have an opinion on whether or not that should be done as part of the athletic field complex or standalone? I'm just thinking from how would we have to borrow separately for that? Would that then need to be funded out of operating or capital?
I don't see why we couldn't incorporate that into the project as a whole. I'll check with the schools and see if they have any idea at all on cost for that right now.
So they do. It's part of their recent proposal.
Okay.
They have two options in, one for 5.8, the other one for like 6.3, and the delta is the sewer project. So I think they just wanted to have flexibility in their materials, depending on, I don't know whose recommendation they need to take. So.
Okay. Jack, can I add to that though? I mean, I don't want to be Debbie Downer, but if that fails, then then we have to go back to town meeting for this particular item. Like, is there a way to stack them together and then?
Let me talk to the superintendent and see what his thoughts are on that. Obviously, it does come after the other one. So if, we would make sure it comes after the.
But would it, Mike, if it were separate, does it require a town vote? Number 20.
Yeah, if so, say the other article for the building projects and the field projects didn't pass, then they could move this article just for that sewer.
And it doesn't have to be on the ballot, right?
Oh, no. If it's not part of that whole project, it wouldn't be a debt exclusion.
Yeah, I think we should consider that maybe, the thing is the vote's a separate time, right? So, but we'll know about the vote at this point. I think we keep it as a placeholder. And if we don't have to take action on it, and again, I hate to be, negative about it, but if it doesn't pass, like this needs to get done, and it doesn't require, it requires approval at town meeting, but doesn't require approval at a town election.
Right.
Yeah, I think we did a similar approach for some of the articles of the last one, that if X passed, then Y wouldn't be moved, and then vice versa. So I have no problem keeping that on there.
No, I just have a question regarding sewerage from the Yale and the high school. And they already pump it to the middle school. Is there any reason they can't just redirect the plumbing?
To be honest with you, Brad, I forget what the issue was. There was an issue, Jack. I don't know if you remember what it was.
No.
I'll get you information on it, Brad. I forget why that couldn't happen. I forget what the issue was.
Okay, thank you. It might be because one's a forced main and one's a gravity fed.
Right, could be.
Brad, are you running for the water board?
I
I can't or if he's giving me the finger, I can't tell.
It's down below the desk. Only I know for sure.
The next article, 21, I was asked to. Go ahead.
Sorry, before we move on that one, I don't see anything on here for repairs to town hall should the debt exclusion question fail. Do we have a placeholder for that somewhere else I'm just not seeing?
We don't. Could put it on the special.
So can we talk about that for a second? Because I would like to see the debt exclusion on the special. Like, do we have the ability to move it from this to and open a special town meeting for that? And the reason is many people will come out for a debt exclusion, but then that's really the only thing that they care about. So by putting it on the special, we have the opportunity to put it at the front, have the vote, and then close the special and move on. And then, Jack, to your point, right, if that pass, then our backup is, well, we still have to approve funds to repair.
Just any departments that may need money for this current fiscal year?
Can you check, Mike, on that, if we would be able to move it? Because I think, you know, it would be more focused, and then we have the opportunity to spend that time on it and then close it out, and people can leave if they need to.
I'll check with Lauren on that, thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great idea, Renee. And we're trying to, if we don't want that larger crowd for the duration,
Right.
I think it lets folks who maybe don't feel comfortable being out and about, get home and not risk losing anything. Brilliant.
Oh, what happened there, Jeff?
Sorry, I hit the wrong button.
In case, I know Michael had asked me to put this on.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically, it's getting to a point, and I'm hoping to get in the next week a draft over to you guys. And it really does call, and it's gonna be subject to the charter passing, and the charter, if our charter doesn't pass, they vote on this. So I'm trying to figure out the wording that would make it subjective to the charter. But it would just basically, I see there's a need the need's never gone away to make those positions on the water commission appointed, and get away from the elections for several different reasons, which I will be glad to present at a future meeting.
Very good. Do we know if the gentleman that we appointed to the Water Sewer Commission ever got sworn in?
He did get sworn in.
Oh, he did? Okay.
Article 22, we currently have a stormwater management bylaw, and we've been waiting for the MS4 guidelines from EPA to get ironed out, and they have. So there are some changes that we are looking to make to that. There's a committee that meets regularly on that, and we'll be bringing those to you. 23, excuse me. I'm not sure, I haven't talked with Jennifer Carlino on this yet, so I'll have to get back to you on what that one is about. 24, recently the state that MBTA communities, which we are considered an MBTA community because of our proximity to the commuter rail line. So there's a requirement that you have an allowed by right multifamily district. They have not finished the state guidelines on it yet, so we have no idea whether it's going to happen before May. But Paul is just keeping in touch with that, and that's there just in case we have to do it. If you don't, then you won't be allowed any state grants. So we're waiting for the guidelines on that.
So I'm assuming from Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, we could use this in an existing area of town, could be rezoned for that, correct?
Correct.
So there could be housing that's already in place that could be rezoned for that would meet this requirement.
Yeah, I don't know that, as I said, I'm waiting to see what their guidelines are.
Yeah, okay.
What are we on now? 25, right? 25, I don't know if Renee wants to talk. We have to make some adjustments to our bylaw that we recently passed on marijuana. And I don't know if you want to elaborate at all yet.
Sure.
Renee?
Yeah, no, I can. So it's a couple things. One, we realized the way that we wrote the bylaw doesn't allow the applicants to do any construction. So the state has to come in order for them to be issued a final license, they have to actually do an inspection of the building. But the way that we wrote the bylaw, they can't get the permit, the building permit, until they have the final license. So it's kind of a circle, they'll never be able to get a building permit from us, so we have to modify that. And then I anticipate special meeting as well. Delivery operator and delivery courier. So while we passed and we modified the bylaw, if you remember the bylaw, I want to say the last modification we made was in May, but because we delayed it at town meeting, we approved it much later than we thought. But in November of last year, the CCC changed their recommendations or their requirements and approved a delivery operator and delivery courier license. So we want to just account for that within the bylaw, which would include just some changes on including that language in there, and then identifying what the hours of operation would be for those types of businesses. So those are some of the changes that would be in this establishments that will be directly kind of on. And I would imagine that we'll put those on the special town meeting warrant.
26, this is to rezone that area that I talked about earlier, the state property up behind Dunkin' Donuts and the salt shed there at the intersection of 495 and East Main. It's currently zoned R80, and this would be to rezone it to industrial.
Mike, why wouldn't you move that right after the land swap?
I don't, it's just, I guess, the way the articles were turned in.
Okay. And Mr. Chairman, may I just ask Mr. Hume's question?
Absolutely.
So Mike, I guess I missed the rationale. The improvement of town hall as well. Was there rationale why you didn't think we should put it on this town meeting and maybe hold off on a special meeting? Was there because I was under the impression too it was going to make it onto this town meeting. If you're off base on this, Renee or Jack, on my maybe I'm alone in that thought process.
No, I just didn't remember to put that on there.
Yeah, I agree with you, Michael. That was something, that's why I brought it up. I think something that we had talked about for quite a while, so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, Jack, continue.
No, go ahead, Michael, you're on a roll.
I think people don't realize that what we're flirting with at town hall, and if the debt exclusion doesn't happen, that trailers are rolling in the next day to try to move people out of that building. I mean, I think we're really at a point where, and that's why I'm disappointed we didn't see it on this main article, because I want to bang that drum as loud as we can, because I think people think that we're overreacting, and I don't, for the town hall, I don't think we are. While we have been able to work from home during COVID, I mean, there has been some impacts. I mean, there is some frustration that town hall isn't open, right? So I think it's one of those things. I really would encourage you let's make sure we don't miss it on the next opportunity we get to put it on warrant. I think we absolutely have to put it on there. I mean, I don't do this alone, so I would surrender to the rest of my fellow board members.
Let's talk about that, because there's a timeline that we have to follow for the special town meeting, and I think it's just I'm looking at that timeline that I had sent out to people, but Mike, please correct me if you know this offhand. I think we have to open the special town meeting and then the warrant is open for 5 days and it has to be posted 14 days before the meeting. Is that correct?
I'll have to double check. I thought the special was 7 days before the town meeting. The annual was 14, but I could have that mixed up.
So Mike, do you think I'm totally overreacting? I mean, maybe I'm overreacting. I mean, did you not just, I mean, was this just an oversight, or was this?
It was just an oversight.
Okay.
So Mike, if you can double check that, I show in my notes, in the bylaw that the special town meeting warrant has to be posted 14 days before the meeting, and that, so we have, Michael and Jack, like just, you know, for, I guess, clarity, we do have some time to open up that special town meeting warrant, so it's not like we've missed the opportunity, right? We still have the opportunity to do that, and then hopefully Mike will get information from town council on if we can move the existing debt exclusion article to that as well, so that we can address it early on in the meeting and then close the special town meeting.
No, and I understand that, Renee.
I know.
You know, it's gonna take maybe even 2 meetings to really get this across to people, and I think the more the messaging that we wanna do, I mean, it's hopefully, you know, I hope we don't need it, right? I mean, but
Right.
I'm really, really worried that we're gonna get a point where we're gonna be taking this down the road, and
No, you're absolutely right, we need a backup plan. Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely, and, you know, hindsight being in 2020, I wish that those articles were next to each other on the existing, like we have it.
This is the petition article. This is the property at the intersection of East Main, White Street and Newland Streets. It's owned by Lucille Drain, and she's looking to have that rezoned from R80 to commercial.
Where is this exactly? I mean, I see it on here, but can you give me like a landmark?
Yeah, right in front of Red Mill Village, the triangle piece of land out there.
Where the big rock is?
Yeah, no, you take a left where Newland is. It's that land as you're taking left on the left-hand side. It goes from White Street, it squeezes East Main and White Street.
Okay, and it's on East Main, right? It runs, it's like the property is on East Main?
Correct, yeah. And
Okay.
it's on East Main, and White Street's behind it, and to the north of it is Newland.
Okay,
And I think it's actually, if I'm not mistaken, the way it's laid out is you got Bernie and Phil's, which is commercial. You've got this end, which is residential, or it's village commercial, I believe. Bernie and Phil's is village commercial. This land's residential, and then you have village commercial again. So it's kind of a weird. It should be, yeah. So that's my opinion.
and Mike, are we responsible, or like from Paul's perspective, does he have to do all the work to notify abutters and post signs and?
The owner would have to do that, but the planning board does have to have all the hearings that they typically would have.
Okay. Why they want to rezone it? Is it just to sell it and have commercial
To
in that
sell it,
area?
yeah, to sell it.
Is there somebody interested in buying it?
I don't know.
Sorry, Jeff.
I'll check with the realtor and see if they have any interest, or if this is just something they figure if they make it commercial, they'd get interest.
Yeah, Mrs. Drain has kind of divested herself from all the real estate that her husband had accumulated once he passed away. She used to own the package store on the corner of Northwest Street. She sold that, and actually the entire plaza, the house behind it. The house that was vacant for so long, used to be a local gas station, or
Like on the corner there?
Yeah, new house further up Northwest Street that's kind of been wedged in there. Her husband would buy property around town, small parcels usually. And he accumulated quite a bit, and she's been trying to sell it off since he passed away.
Okay. Yeah, I would have to imagine that would be a non-compliant lot too, just with the odd shape and dimensions, so.
I like that little, it's cute.
Did you say it's cute?
Yeah, cute was the wrong word. I was like, come back when as soon as I said it.
Photo from the Sun anniversary from 1968 and showing the old Texaco station on Old Colony Street.
Thank you, Peter.
And some of these others here, some of these are just what we have standard, prior year bills, in case there's any bills that have to be paid from a prior year. OPEB funding, stabilization funding, any retirement expense funding, collective bargaining agreements, money for our household hazardous waste day, water pollution abatement trust administrative costs, and then our standard revolving funds and funding for the recycling fund.
Excellent. Not for now, but I just want to make sure we don't forget about the Community Preservation Act stuff. I know that was taken off at the request of the folks that recommended it last time. I just don't want that to fall completely off.
What was that, Jack?
Oh, the establishing the CPA Community Preservation funds.
Okay.
I'm saying it now in the hopes that, and perhaps next year when we're setting the list, things look better and we can get that back on.
Okay. And Renee, you were right. It's open for 5 days and posted 14 days before town meeting.
Okay, so we just need to keep that in mind by April.
Okay, repeat that one more time, Bess, please.
The special town meeting, Michael?
Yeah.
We declare a special town meeting, the warrant is open for 5 days, and we have to post it 14 days before the meeting. So what's our meeting date? Is it the 8th?
The 8th.
So we're looking at, I think, somewhere around the 23rd that it would have to be posted. So we'd have to declare it, I don't have my calendar, but let's go a week or so back, 10 days, somewhere around the 10th or the 15th. In April, so we have some time.
Okay.
But we'll want to keep that at top of mind, right, and not wait till the last minute, because I'm sure that doesn't help Michelle at all.
So 5/14, 5 days to warrant and then 14 days before. Okay.
So is it only allowed to stay open for a certain number of days, or can we open it for a longer period of time?
I believe the charter says open for 5 days.
I think so too.
All right. Thank you for looking into that. Anything else on the town meeting warrants articles? Do you have a prospective list for when the FinCom meetings are going to be and which departments or budget sections are going to be covered?
I'll get all the agendas and send them to you.
And then, Mike, it seems like we have an opportunity here to do a couple joint meetings on some of the bigger items. Can we, not right now, but like on those dates that you have, can you shoot those out to the board and we can consider having a joint meeting so we have that discussion once and then both boards have the opportunity to ask questions and vote?
Yeah, I will. That's good.
Thank you.
And just to reiterate, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, fellow board members, but I think we would like to be able to vote on the articles prior FinCom meeting 2. So I know they can hear it beforehand, but I know they always ask, well, what does the select board do? So if we can get started on our piece of that as soon as possible, so we can stay ahead of them, I would appreciate that.
And Mike, this is my lack of knowledge. What's your typical time frame regarding the budget and us seeing the budget and so forth?
So the budget, the departments will start this Monday presenting to the finance committee, and they're just presenting their budget without any of my recommendations yet. The schools will have to have their budget done by I believe it's March 10th. And so then after that, I'll work on a budget, a final budget.
Great. And is it the presentation, just the finance committee? How long will it take how many meetings will it take for your team to go through their presentations to the finance committee?
They'll probably be meeting every Monday from now until town meeting. Just about.
So when if we see that, or we have concerns of that on the presentations or questions, should we I'm trying to just get understanding on proper procedure here. If I watch obviously I'm not going to the FinCom meeting, I'm not gonna be part of the FinCom meeting, but if I see their presentations and I have questions or concerns ahead of time, should we be bringing those now? Should we bring those concerns to you now, or do you want to wait until you present it to us?
No, you can bring them at any time. Okay. Let me know. I'd appreciate it.
Okay.
Anything else on that one, folks? All right, thank you, Mike. Use of the town common for the sale of cookies.
By the way, we're getting ridiculed on social media for this one, folks.
I know.
Why? I'm all about Girl Scout cookies.
Allison.
Yeah, we even have to vote on it is what we're being ridiculed for.
Oh.
Allison DeBrew reached out to me, and the 3 Girl Scout troops would like to sell Girl Scout cookies on the town common, February 28th. That's a Sunday, I believe, from 9 until 3 p.m. And they just feel it will be safer that way. People can pull up along the side there and sell the cookies right there. I just wanted to make sure that the board was all set with that.
Sure. Anyone have any issues?
No, do we want to give them a chance to say anything, or is it just a simple vote?
I would say it's a simple vote for me.
Okay.
Unless they want to hype the cookies if there's any new ones.
That's what I was.
I think Allison's on, so.
I will take 2 boxes of Thingles and place our order.
Hi, Allison.
Hi, no, I just came on because I figured I was gonna jump on this and get on my end if it was approved, so.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, we've been doing it at the library the past couple of years, and it's worked out really well, just kind of doing a drive-through booth, and especially with COVID this year, they're only allowed to do drive-through booths. So we've got them set up every Sunday till the end of February, and we're just gonna switch that last Sunday at the library and move it to the town common, which will actually give them more traffic.
Wonderful. Good.
By that time, people are getting tired of cookies, if you can believe it.
It's unfortunate though that it's so cold for the girls to be out there.
Yeah, why they have New England sell cookies in the winter has always been beyond me. I would take the spring or the fall, but they give us the winter
There's
stuff.
nothing better than frozen Thin Mints. Okay, so let's make sure that's.
I second.
Best.
I will, thank you.
Right. Well, thank you. Chair will entertain a motion to approve the Girl Scouts use of the town common for the sale of cookies, the date as described.
So moved.
So moved.
Second, James.
Everyone moved it, everyone seconded it, but we still got to vote anyway. Meg?
Yep, but Jen, to figure out who it was.
Michael?
Aye.
Brad?
Aye.
Renee?
Yes.
I too say yes. So thank you very much. Ms. Abreu, for bringing that up, and be by to get some frozen Thin Mint cookies. I guess that's the good part about selling in the winter. They're already pre-frozen.
Exactly.
We're on to our second page and old business discussion on marijuana establishments.
It just doesn't end, does it? It's all about the pot. Cookies, pot in the winter, who can go wrong?
We're just gonna stop there now.
I know. So Mike and Paul have been pretty busy fielding requests. I think the news has gotten out that we've approved 2 HCA's, so everybody's looking to partner with Norton, which is great for us. So a couple updates. We should expect a delivery operator HCA within the next month from Lucky Green Ladies. They were one of the applicants that we reviewed for retail. Paul and I have some work to do on, well, they have some work to do on actually identifying a location and signing a lease and then submitting an HCA to us. Just so the board is aware, we will be amending or modifying the existing host community agreement template to include delivery operator. Part of that, as I mentioned, we're looking for the town meeting to include some information specific on like the hours of operation. In the interim, town council has advised that we should put that in the HDA. So we're going to go through, she's provided us with some information. We'll modify the host community agreement and that will come back in front of the board for approval prior to us actually seeing things from the applicant. But I have informed them not to let that stop them in submitting it to us because we'll just include that as part of the negotiation. So as we change the HCA and approve it on our end, then we'll just put it in whatever is submitted to us. But they're a couple weeks out from doing that. They also have to, in their initial proposal to the EDC, they indicated that they want to, as part of their fleet services, have hybrid or fully electric vehicles, and they haven't considered that in their negotiations with the landlord, so they have some work to do there. And then Paul and I have had conversations on making sure that that information is prepped for the planning board, because aside from town hall, we don't really have that within the town. So we just want to make sure that there are no delays when it comes through the select board and then to the planning board to get the applicant through to, you know, actually do what they need to do on the special permit or the site plan approvals. So that's one. We have potentials that have been reaching out to us in respect to properties in town. We have one who is interested in doing a micro business part cultivate, part manufacturer. They're looking at potential sites on Hill Street or potential sites were given to them on Hill Street and Mansfield Avenue. So they just need to decide on that. But, you know, for all of these, we'll follow the same process. They'll, as soon as they're ready to make a proposal, or if they want to just have a conversation with the EDC, we'll have them through the EDC first for recommendation. And then Mike and I will work on the HCA negotiations before it comes to the board. So you guys will have some time. You obviously have that in your inboxes before we have to vote on it. So don't think it'll come up at the last minute. But that's one of them for a cultivation facility. Another one is interested in a delivery operator license. They are a social equity program certificate holder, so they have the ability to open up a delivery shop and have, I guess, for lack of a better term, exclusivity for the next 3 years, and that's based on the CCC regulations. And then there's another one that came through for a cultivation or product manufacturer. It's in the early stages. It just came either yesterday or today. So that's something that Paul will be reaching out on and getting more information, and then I'll get involved at whatever point it seems like the EDC can provide some support. And then we have another one who's looking at cultivation and delivery. They have identified 2 locations. Both of them are within the existing marijuana overlay. So they've been provided that information from Mike, and they just have to come back. They actually submitted 2 separate HCAs to us, and Mike sent them back because we didn't have a location established. And in either of them, but then the first one, they actually wanted retail and cultivation, but since we don't have retail licenses, we couldn't accept that. So he's been working with them, and again, once they actually have things, a letter of intent or a PNS, whatever it might be, then we'll have conversations and we'll get them in front of the EDC for a review and recommendation. And then Mike and I will work together on the HCA negotiations. So a lot of things going on there, and like I said, it's not surprising because now the word is out that we're a friendly community for the business. So it's good for us because there's space on Mansfield Ave, there's space on South Washington, there's space on Hill Street. All these areas are not developed right now, so it's new income from a real estate perspective, as well as, you know, a revenue perspective for those businesses. Mike, anything I may have missed? Okay, I think he said no. That's it. He's Mike.
Yes, I did.
Any questions?
I guess for me, Renee, you have 2 licenses right now because they're tied to liquor licenses, right? So the additional folks that are reaching out are Are they hoping for additional licenses to become available? Are they hoping to be a fallback in case one of the current holders backs away? How does that work?
No, so the restriction in the number of licenses is only on retailers. So any cultivator, manufacturer, or delivery operator, they fall under kind of a different category, and there's no limit. It's fully up to the board to approve or deny any HCA that comes in front of us. From a retail perspective, if you remember, we voted that should either of the first two fail to come to fruition, or we have another retail license because we've increased our alcohol licenses, then we would automatically go to Lucky Green Ladies to enter into negotiation with them on the HCA. At this time, I mean, they're pretty, like the areas that they're looking at are spread out around town. There are certain things that, Mike and I will be looking at, like, for example, if we think about it holistically, so we have this community impact fee, right? That's part of the host community agreement, and that provides the town 3% of their gross revenue. That money is specifically used for impacts on the community. And so we have two retailers right now who within their agreement, will be providing that funding to us. So Mike and I will consider like other alternatives and additional HCAs on, how can we do things not necessarily focused on a community impact, but to still leverage those opportunities to partner and to have them support the town in different ways. So we have the good thing is I think we're in a really good position because we have two companies who are dedicated to operating in the town already that are going through the process. And then we have these other companies who are interested. So it puts us in a really good position. In respect to the two that we have, the provisional license for solar retail Norton is, I would say, probably, Mike has some follow-up with town council to do, but it should be within the next week that they get their provisional license, and then they are already prepared to go and get their site plan approval and special permit from the planning board. The challenge is going to be, and this is just because of the time of the year, is going to be scheduling, because right now the planning board has, as you saw from the article list, I think different zoning articles that they have to review, so there's quite a bit of work there. So while I'm not saying that they're not going to look at this, it certainly is going to be, a bit of a delay based on if they came when we had no town meeting planned or any zoning articles changing. The other establishment I mentioned last time, they're looking to change their ownership because they're interested in applying for the social equity program. So they are in the process of doing that now. I got an email yesterday that I haven't had a chance to respond to, but they just want to know the documentation. So Mike and I talked about that, or maybe it was Paul and I talked about that today. So we should see something from them at the next meeting to amend the existing HCA. And I know I mentioned previously and just briefly about the location that they're looking at. So they continue, they haven't done any public hearings because the Condyne at Blue Star has changed financiers that they initially early of marijuana establishment. So Exit 10 LLC is reaching out to try to meet with them to try to come to agreement. They have a backup plan right now, but they have some other options in play too. So once they finalize those and they have an idea of what they're going to do, that'll come back in front of the board if there's any sort of a change. But they continue and are certainly dedicated to being here. They've reached out a couple of times to Mike and to myself. So the work continues, and I expect the planning board shortly will have some of these in front of them. And we're planning to, I will at some point meet with the planning board, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, to kind of go through like a marijuana establishment 101. I'll come to them, and then we address any questions up front. So it looks good. So things are moving forward, even with COVID, and we have some other opportunities on the horizon too.
All right, so any questions on that? Thank you for the update, Renee, appreciate it.
Renee, thanks for your continuous hard work on this. It's a lot of work put in.
Thanks, Michael. It's truly been a group effort, and Denise right now has been looking at the new regulations for the CCC, so we make sure that whatever modifications we make in the bylaw and the HCA are appropriate for the town. So, and I expect this is going to continue. We talked about it before. Regulations will continue to change. It's just due to timing. It kind of sucks that we just have this approved. Now we're going to go back to make a modification, but it really. Things can move forward from the perspective of applicants for a delivery operator or delivery courier license. We don't have to make modifications, but we want to in the best interest of the town. So that's why we're going to bring it forward.
Excellent. Seeing nothing else, we'll move on to town manager's report, which is an update on the town report.
Now, just to remind, the town report that the selectmen, did you send in your report yet on that for the year? Just want to double check on that.
I have not. I work better with a hard deadline, Mike, so why don't you give me a date when you need that by?
All right, I'll let you know.
Is that only done by you, Jack, or?
I think you missed it, but I'll get it to you.
All right.
Wait, what are we expected to do?
The annual report from the Board of Selectmen for last fiscal year.
I mean, that sounds like a
Is this why Jack gets paid the big bucks?
Usually the
That's
clerk
settled
handles that, I think.
Yeah. All right, you really want to punt on that one, but okay.
Did we settled on the, what's it called? The acknowledgement? Did we settle on the acknowledgement for that?
I don't know that we have.
With all seriousness, is it the chairman or is the clerk that usually does it?
Chairman.
It's the chairman.
You guys had an opportunity, you just missed.
My eyes were doe-eyed. I was like, oh.
Well, if I miss the deadline, Mike, I'm sorry. I'll
That's all right.
make it up to you. How Brady Bunch style thing?
I was gonna take a picture individually and paste this in.
I think, I actually think a Zoom picture would be appropriate for this year. People would remember.
Definitely.
The question is, will you have to have masks on?
I was gonna say, it's nothing without a mask. So Mike, should we send, I know that, I thought we had some communication on it before with you directly, but should we send who we believe it should be? I don't know, do we do an honor of, I'm sorry that I can't, hold on, I have.
The dedication.
Dedication, thank you, Brad, thank you so much. Should we send that to you directly, our thoughts?
I would send them to Jack, and
Okay.
That's something the board should vote on.
Okay. Who did we do last year?
We did Bob last year. Yeah, and I had suggested Mary for this year.
Okay.
Mary Hill.
Ha. I'm gonna tell her you said that.
better start running, Mike.
Mr. Chairman, I got questions for the town manager. If he's not, are you done, Mike, or are you?
I'm not. I just have one other thing. I just wanted to let the board know that we received a notice from Department of Housing and Community Development that the town of Norton will receive technical assistance from the Massachusetts Downtown Initiative Local Rapid Recovery Planning Program. So what they'll do is they'll assign a consultant to work with the town and work closely with Paul on this, obviously. And that consultant will work to explore solutions and projects to help revitalize business in the community in an effective way, plan for economic recovery. So it's something they'll be working on over the next 5 months. And we don't know who the consultant will be yet, or who we'll be working with. But as soon as we get more information from them, we'll let everybody know.
Very good.
So, and I'll just, Jack, if I can add to that, Paul and Mike were at the last EDC meeting, and Paul indicated that he applied for this. So we talked about the EDC supporting this as well and working with the consultant. So it's great news. At the time, he didn't know if it was, he didn't know if we were going to be awarded it or when the timing was. So this is actually pretty quick because it's, Michael, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the meeting was within the past week,
Yep.
right? Or a week ago.
Yep.
So it's great news for us.
And so, yeah, it'll be a 5-month period. It'll extend beyond June 30th, 2021 now. It was going to end on June 30th, 2021, but due to COVID, everything's spread out a little bit.
Very good. Michael, you had a couple questions. Fire away.
Yeah, you know, as we finish the year and starting off the year, what is the processes for Mike, for reviews of town employees? I know that when we talked about salaries and all that, we talked about, are you starting the reviews? Have you started reviews? What's your time frame typically for reviews?
So I have started reviews with the department heads, and you know, it's still ongoing. I haven't finished with all of them yet. So I've met 3 or 4 of them so far, and it's continuing.
Okay, is that something that you give us an overview at all for just when it's all completed, all the select board? Do you give an overview?
I can let you know how everything went, sure.
That'd be great. That'd be great. And then obviously everyone's entitled to a review. How does the review of yourself, and Mr. Chairman, it's probably more of a question to you, how does that typically run? And being new to this, I don't know, and I just wanted to bring it up.
So from my understanding last year, and we'll continue to extend the chain of support out to Brad, I think there's a document that gets circulated. We each individually fill that out. You would send that to, I think, either myself or Renee and myself. We would draft a consolidated report, and then from there I get a little bit fuzzy. So Brad, I'll let you finish that off.
Basically, it's a town manager's review document that we made years ago. We use a 0 to 4 scoring on multiple factors. They're sent to the chairman, and from being very particular, I set up an Excel spreadsheet, and I actually entered all the scores in to get an average to give the score to Mr. Units. And then in the end of the subsections, there are lines where you can make usually like 3 remarks regarding his performance. And as chairman, I would go through and take the remarks, try to condense duplicates, and get remarks that focus on what I feel are both the negatives and positives to give it a well-rounded review. And so I just make a synopsis and the final report that we forward to the town manager. And after I've written it, I would send it to members of the board for their review and signatures.
Okay. Is Mike, in the past, have we done any, Mike, have you ever done any feedback prior to this or in the process? So it's like a 360 review, or is it just is it really just a one-way review? Like, is there something you want to see change in this process at all, or is there?
It's just always been done the way that Brad has stated to you.
But by the way, that comment alone drives me crazy. Is there something that you would want to change in this process? I mean, but we have the right to change it.
I haven't really thought about it, to be honest with you. I can't think of anything that, but I'd get back to you if I did think.
You could, maybe if you, between now and the next meeting,
sure.
Something that you want to change in the process, you could get your feedback as well. Mm-hmm. This isn't, you know, it has to be kind of a both-way review, and I think if we can always improve the process.
Okay.
If I could add, in years prior to last year, because of COVID, things got kind of screwed up. And I kind of presented the review to Mike. Prior years, the chair and vice chair would meet with the town manager and kind of present it and review it with him. But last year, we really didn't have that opportunity. And it was more or less given to him, I gave it to him, and I mean, we talked about several things, but we really didn't get into depth like we normally would, probably with two people there.
And I think that's probably something that should be, even if it's an online meeting between the town manager and the chair and the vice chair possibly. So, but Mike, if there's something that you want to see, you know, how we could change this process in your thing, I mean, I think all of us would be open to that. I don't want to speak for the whole board, but I think just doing things the way, because that's how we've done them, that cop drives me crazy.
All right, I'll get back to you on that. Thanks.
And Brad, if you have a chance, if you could send the final report from last year, just out to us, we can share that out ahead of this one.
Okay. I'm sure I've got it someplace.
Thank you, sir. Anything else for Mike before you let him off the hot seat?
Mike, just to ask, I know I sent that late agenda item. I don't know if you had a chance to see if we can get the water and sewer folks on our next meeting.
Yeah, that's listed on the agenda that they'll come the next meeting.
When do you typically get their, Mike, as well? When do you get their budget?
Water and sewer?
Yeah.
All budgets other than the school department are due on the 10th.
Okay. All right. And so is that before the town meeting, we can see that?
Yeah.
Good. All right. Moving on, report and mail. Michael, I know you said you had something tonight.
Yeah, I just wanted to, I know it was a big joke about the Michael Toole show, but I wanted to thank the fire department immensely for coming on and doing a community update and outreach program. We had approximately 35 people show up and had some good questions. We had a surprise visit by the regional dispatch center, Mr. Devoe, and I thought it was well received. There's a lot of good stuff going on in Norton, and I wanted to, and you know, the fire department's done great. It's one of the departments of all the departments that are doing great work, and I wanted to call that out. And hopefully, you know, we can focus on certain departments and have community updates on them on the future, as well as I change directions here. We just talked a little bit about reviews. I want to basically throw out to the select board, outside of our regular meeting, I would like to possibly set up just a select board meeting. Obviously, it would be a public meeting, but we wouldn't be taking comments from, so it might be a webinar set up. But to talk about planning and vision for the next year. I'm not sure if we how long it's been since we've done this, but you know, I really try to give the certain boards direction, certain departments direction, and I think it's an important process for us to do. You know, specifically focused on the master planning, you know, finance concerns and other issues that we could see fit. And obviously, that's just an example. And I know Meg and I had spoken about this once before, and I want to throw it out to everyone, the other members, to say within the next month or so, if we can get a date locked down so we can do that planning day.
I think that's a really interesting and good idea, Michael. I think where it gets a bit hinky is I don't believe we have the authority or right to direct any other boards for what they do. They're all duly elected.
Maybe I misspoke there, Jack, but it's about vision. It's more about vision of setting the vision for the town and so forth. So.
Yeah, well, I fully support that idea. I think we may just need to present it as, you know, what we think, and hopefully that can trickle up. But we just have to use a different form of motivation to get folks to buy into our vision.
Well, I think, Michael, if I can add to that, I think Michael said, right, it's a matter of us getting feedback from the boards on what they want, because our responsibility is to set the priority, right? And so I think, and we've heard it time and time again, right, what's the direction of the board? I mean, FinCom has said it quite a bit. And it's one small step for us to approve warrant articles before they see it, and even an even bigger step to collaborate with them on, you know, what do they see as the major issues, and how can we set priorities to align to those so that we're doing the right things for the town. So I think to Michael's point, you know, doing it in a webinar fashion, the only concern I would have, not in the format, but how do we collect that information, or do we just set it up and we collaborate with the boards and say, hey, can you join our meeting or send us something beforehand about what do you see as the top concerns, or what should we be focused on? And, you know, are there ideas out there on how we can do that? I mean, I think it's a great idea. And Jack, I know, you know, when you and I first joined, we talked about that same thing about setting priorities to say, you know, what really is our focus? And I think between, you know, projects going on and things that didn't go the way, and then of course the pandemic, we just, I mean, during the pandemic we got hit with a ton of meetings, so there was no time for it. So I think it's a good time to do it, and you know, with both Michael and Meg on here, I just think it's a great opportunity, and we should certainly do that. We have, you know, we have the ability to do that, to meet as a board and just discuss those items, like have a working session, which, you know, we're so driven on the things that need to get done that we just don't take the time to really think about, you know, what do we want to do? And you know, I'm sure Brad has a lot of input from his years of experience that would be valuable. So I'm all for it.
I think a lot of the chairs of the board, everyone I've talked to sort of wants this collab. It's sort of a frustration. Defeats the purpose of working together to the good. You know, it's just, it's mind-boggling to me that hasn't been changed, that open meeting, but.
I mean, but to your point, Meg, I mean, we can have any meeting with any board, right? It just has to be accessible to the public. That doesn't mean that it.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying, you know, even from just a, you know, social aspect, it would have been, like I had said in the beginning, I'm like, you guys can all come over for a barbecue and we can just sort of like, you know, just for fun, just sort of say like, what do we think? And just so we had a clearer picture, but we can't do that. So, anyway.
We can if you're going to open up the barbecue to everybody else to come and watch.
Welcome to Meg's house.
And we can only do it in the next 90 days,
has had
right?
more than, probably half the town has been.
Tell Jimmy just to open himself up to Monday at the barbecue.
No, we do this all the time, so this would not be a stretch.
All we need is Norton Media there to record it and broadcast it, and as long as it's accessible to people to view, we're good. So you tell me what I need to bring, and I'm there.
I'll be there.
You too.
Peter. Awesome.
Awesome. All right. Well, look forward to setting the date for Michael's vision and Meg's barbecue. So
that's a plan. Neither. Come on, that is not a fair representation. It's so. Anyways, that's all.
All right. Anybody else?
Yeah, I have one thing I'd like to bring up.
Sure.
This happens to be looking about me running for select person again. And when I started a long time ago, I do have some beliefs I stick with. And one of them is that I firmly believe in all politicians, whether they're volunteers like me or people who actually get paid, that there should be term limits. And I had set a term limit of 12 years for any office that I've had. This being my 12th year, I will not run again. And I've enjoyed my time both as a school committee member and on the select board. And I appreciate everyone who's helped out and helped me through things. And I just want to thank you all. And just so people don't call looking to see if I can't imagine running in COVID anyways, trying to get signatures. That alone would be a reason for me to stop. But one thing I can firmly stick with is my belief in term limits. So I thank everybody for their indulgence for me for 24 years. And that doesn't mean I won't be back again. There are other seats.
I was just about to say there's still a vacancy on the EDC.
Well, who knows? We'll see.
Mr. Chair, I was ready to just ask you to mute, Mr. Bramwell. Will you just as them or do something like that? But I didn't he beat me to the punch.
I got a little misty in here. It'll be very sad to come here on Thursday nights and not see your face looking back at us.
You'll get over it.
Just expect phone calls. I mean, like Brad, I like, you know, you say it and it becomes real. And, you know, I know we've had, I was elected, and you've certainly provided a lot of guidance, a lot of perspective that has made me view things differently, and I appreciate that. And you know, the one thing, I mean, that the rest of us are fairly new. The one thing that we're going to miss is your knowledge and, you know, just institutional knowledge. I mean, you've been around doing this for a long time. When we have a question, we go to you, like Jack just did earlier in the meeting, and it's going to be missed. But having said that, that doesn't mean that you know, we don't want to see you involved. So certainly, if I have to hound you to help on the EDC or with some other effort, I have no problems doing that because I know where you live now.
There you go. But yeah, no, as long as I'll take like probably a 1-year break, and I'm sure I'll find something else to interest me to stick my nose into somebody else's business around town.
That's perfect.
I would just like to echo Renee. Mentor and leader during our transition or a better, more patient person to learn the ropes from. So thank you for that. And I can see how that temperament has served you well through all the ups and downs and crazy things that this town can throw at us. And I don't know if you realize, but as soon as you step away, you make Renee and I the elder statespeople on this, which is, that's the terrifying
It is mind-blowing, isn't it?
for everyone.
It is.
Yes.
Well, I thank you
No
all.
one wants to work with us, Renee. They just keep leaving.
I think I got the temperament from being the oldest of 6 brothers.
I'm afraid because I think I'm actually the oldest one once Bradley.
No, I think I have to
that's
be
what really
afraid.
scares me.
Well, we'll see which one of you gets the vaccine first.
Thank you, Brad, for all you do for this town as the select board meeting, and I see you at the meetings back when and in-person meetings, and thank you for all you do for this town in Norton. Thank you for all your service as a select board member, as a school committee member, and thank you for your service, Brad Brimwell from the Honorary Mayor Norton. Peter J. Wiggins.
Thank you, Peter. I'm going to segue to one thing before I leave. One of the biggest thrills of my life, or 2 of my life, was when I was on the school committee, and I happened to be the chairman 2 years, and actually got to hand my daughters their high school diplomas. And my youngest daughter actually showed me her diploma the other day that I signed. So they have signed signatures from me on their high school diplomas.
That's awesome. You don't have any grandkids or nieces or nephews in school where maybe you want to help out the school committee again?
No, I have a nephew. I've told the story before that since 1959, there's been a Bramwell in the Norton Public Schools to this day. I have a nephew who's in 9th grade. So we got 3 more years and then we're out. You're finally done paying for our education. And I guess with some of us, it was a bigger waste of money than you thought.
Yeah. I don't know how anyone can follow that, so let's just let's skip over everything else and we'll move to warrants and minutes and we'll get this meeting over with.
Jack, we should remind Brad that this isn't his last meeting.
Yeah.
I know that. It's just that I want to make sure that anybody who's maybe not running, thinking I might be, would not let the opportunity pass.
Good. And I don't know if we have Lucia on, but the last day to pull papers is coming up soon. I think the 18th. Very good.
I'm sorry, Jack, before we move on, do we have a list? Mike, is there a list out online of the openings, the positions, whether they be elected or vacant, that if anybody's interested in, they can go to?
Yeah, it's online. It's on the town site.
Yep.
If I give a little more info on that?
The first page, when you go, and it will say town vote or town elections, and then you click on it and it gives you everything.
Okay, so it's elections and the volunteer opportunity, or the appointed ones too, Meg, or just the elected?
This is just the election ones, but the rest, I believe there is if you click on committees, it will tell you who's.
Okay, great.
Very good.
Thank you. And Michael's cat has spoken, Jack.
Oh, no. All right, must be time to go. All right, warrants and minutes. So I have approved payroll warrant PR 21-16 for the week ended January 23, 2021. Warrant dated January 28, 2020. $961.47. Invoice warrant AP 21-31 dated January 28, 2021 in the amount of $1,496,486.14. Invoice warrant AP 21-32 dated February 4, 2021 in the amount of $656,775.39. And for that large one, that 1.5 million, nearly half of that was a health insurance payment. It's about $836,000 there. So that's the outlier.
Hey Jack, before you move on, I had sent Mike an email. Mike, on the approval of the warrants, is that something you had time to reach out to town council on?
Yeah, I haven't heard back yet.
Okay, thank you.
Which brings us to our old nemesis, minutes. I will say I have not had a chance to read any of those. If anyone has and feels comfortable with approving, let me know, and we can certainly take care of them. Trust you all.
I'm out of view for a reason. Because I don't want Jen to see the fact that I haven't reviewed them, especially the one that she modified.
Okay.
I apologize.
Let's make a priority. I'll take January 7th.
Okay.
And which means, Jen, will you remind me that I took January 7th?
Yes, but does that mean you're taking open and executive session?
I'll take both.
Okay.
One's 14th, 21st.
I'll do those. And Renee, I know you had comments on the 10th. I'll believe that with you. All right. So we'll clear this up at next meeting, which is currently scheduled for February 18, 2021, where we'll be entertained with a presentation by the Permanent Building Committee on the Town Hall, Senior and Community Sports Center, and the Athletic Field Complex, along with an update from the Water Sewer Superintendent on the treatment plant and water improvement projects. Now, that does fall in February vacation week, so we have the ability to move it to our off week on the 11th and do this next week, if that matters, or keep it on the 18th. I'm certainly
Remember, I'm traveling. Remember, I'm allowed to travel, so. I don't know. Maybe I'll go to Hawaii that week.
That's the only place you can travel and come back and not have to quarantine.
I am never quarantining again, I'll tell you that.
And you're not going anywhere but Hawaii.
I haven't left my house in 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Aloha.
Exactly.
So Jack, my only question would be in respect to the warrant and FinCom meetings, do we need to put an extra meeting on the calendar? I think, Mike, I'm sorry, I can't remember if you said they're meeting from the 8th on, with the exception of President's Day. So we should consider that, because I think, you know, other boards are meeting more frequently. Do we need to do it too, so that we can stay ahead and or at least in conjunction with FinCom reviews or any other reviews? I'll just throw that out there.
I'm fine with that. I have no social life whatsoever. So I'm here. So Mike, is it beneficial to squeeze in a bonus meeting next week and still keep the 18th as currently planned?
It, as far as that could be into March, it's up to you. I don't know what you'd want to take up.
What's the agenda for Monday, Mike?
Let me see.
Sorry, Jack.
No, that you asked my exact same question, so.
I grabbed it from you. You sent it to me.
Sounded better coming up from you.
I don't know about that.
Give me a second. So Monday is highway, data processing, fire, library, and parks and recreation.
And those are all line items within another article, right, of the town budget?
There, yeah, all those department heads will just be there to talk about their departments.
Well, I guess I'd probably ask then, should we get them on the agenda for the 11th so we can be in sync at least and not fall behind? I hate to have them come twice. I think the biggest on there is the fire department, right?
Yep. Okay.
As a start.
It's data entry. Never heard of it.
What was that, Michael?
What department is data entry?
That's the IT.
IT.
And our communication, and our communications, and that's only our assessment to SEMREC now.
So
Renee, I would agree with you. Let's get ahead of this and let's just bite the bullet and start hearing it.
Yes, I agree.
Okay.
So let's.
I'm sorry, Jack, I was going to ask, is there an opportunity for us to get what they're expected to hear in the 8th and then what they're expected to hear in their next meeting, so we actually do get ahead of it?
Okay.
Yeah. You know, don't commit if you don't think that it's reasonable, but I'm throwing it out.
Let me, and I'll get back to you tomorrow on that. So let's.
Renee, you're saying on the 11th, do the people that already present on the 8th and the people that are presenting on the 15th on the 11th?
Well, there won't be a meeting on the 15th because it's the holiday.
Okay.
So the next meeting is the 22nd, so those people could come to you on the 18th.
The 11th or the 18th. If we can get them on the 11th, then we're just focusing on those items. That would be great, so they're not sitting.
Okay, so.
And if not, then the 18th.
Yeah, so that meeting is scheduled to be the Board of Health, Animal Control, Inspection, Assessors, Town Clerk, Treasurer Collector, and Planning and Zoning. So I'll just double check with everyone and see if they'll be ready on the 11th. Just do that on the 11th, nothing else. Keep everything that was scheduled for the 18th on the 18th, Jack.
I think
Yeah,
so.
you, Renee.
Just not keep.
What was that, Michael?
My cat's basically all over the camera at this point.
I didn't see the cat, I'm sorry. Like I said, I'm waiting for her.
So with the agenda issue for the next 2 weeks settled, any other business to come before the board this evening?
Yes, I found out in the not neighbors, and it says about, and Dave Heaney said, seems like everybody here, including himself, has trouble with Comcast internet.
Yes. So that is a good point. One of our residents in town who's IT friendly posted some helpful tips on the Norton Neighbors Facebook group. So if you are one of those folks that's having some issues, he outlays a couple reasons why, and then a few steps on how to possibly fix that on your own. Thank you for bringing that up, Peter. And seeing no other business to come up, Chair would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Moved.
Second.
All right. Meg,
Yes.
Michael,
Aye.
Brad,
Yes.
Renee,
Yes.
I too vote yes. Thank you so much to everyone. Have a great night. Stay safe.